Hey guys, Toast here. Battlefield 1 is a team-based shooter and one that requires each player to know how to properly play the role that they've chosen. While there's no limit to the number of times you can change roles within a match, it'll always be beneficial to both you and your team to know how to play each of the roles available. This guide was designed to give you an overview of the support role, the weapons and gadgets available, the situations that this class will excel in, and some tips and tricks to maximize your gameplay experience when playing this class. The support class is a bit different than you may have gotten used to in other Battlefield games. In Battlefield 4, the support class was equipped with light machine guns that were actually powerful at virtually all ranges. They were accurate at long range, did strong damage at mid-range, and a few even had high enough rates of fire to be competitive at close range. The support class is no longer like that in Battlefield 1. While still equipped with light machine guns, they're no longer the powerhouses they used to be, and while not completely useless, you'll have to get used to a different playstyle. The big difference between recent Battlefield games and Battlefield 1 when it comes to the mechanics of this class of weapon is that previously the longer you held down the trigger, the higher the spread and the more difficult it was to have an accurate sustained fire. Now the weapons actually get more accurate the longer you fire them, making tap firing ineffective at anything other than close range. And even then, you're better off firing in full auto if possible. This is going to require a bit of retraining for those who have gotten used to the tap firing to be accurate at medium and long range with previous light machine guns in the Battlefield franchise. I found myself tap firing in many situations over the course of my first couple hours, and I can attest that this is definitely a challenging habit to break. The light machine guns that are available are generally low damage with low to medium rates of fire, and the recoil is pretty much all over the board. They feel much more designed for suppressive fire than in previous Battlefield games where some were outright killing machines. None of the weapons really excel over those of other classes at their optimal ranges, so you'll want to focus more on the support aspect of this class. Still, let's go through the available weapons. The Lewis gun is a decent weapon at medium range. The rotating pan magazine, muzzle flash, and recoil pattern give the weapon a heavy feel, however the rate of fire is very sluggish, making it ineffective in close range situations with the assault class and even at times the medic class. The magazine is on the larger side at 47, but the Lewis gun isn't as strong as some of the other options in the class. To make up for this, it ends up being quite a bit more accurate when bipoded and good for suppressing the enemies, however in one-on-one situations it can sometimes be lacking. Up next is the M1909. This is a gas-operated LMG with a small clip at only 30 rounds. This weapon hits noticeably harder than the Lewis gun and does decent damage at range with less drop-off than some of the other weapons, making it a viable option for longer range engagements as long as you have the bipod deployed. Hip firing is not this weapon's strong point, and I honestly don't recommend doing so unless you're in really dire straits and have no other options. The Madsen MG is the best option for those who don't want to have to worry about deploying a bipod to be useful at longer ranges. This LMG has the highest hipfire accuracy of the options available, as well as decent moving accuracy, making it a more effective run-and-gun weapon for those who are used to the playstyle of Battlefield 4. In fact, the weapon doesn't even have a bipod option available for it. Similarly to the M1909, it only has 30 rounds in each magazine, and the iron sights are a bit rough on this one, so if you're within the range where hip firing would be effective, I highly recommend doing so. Finally, you have the MG15. This LMG has the highest capacity magazine of the options available at 100, however to counterbalance this, it suffers from overheating after firing continuously for 30 to 40 rounds. Afterward, the weapon's rate of fire will be significantly reduced before finally being unable to fire for a short amount of time. There's also a suppressor variant of this LMG which will keep you off the minimap, and it's the only one of the currently available LMGs with this particular option. The support class has access to two secondary weapons, both of which are handguns. The first is the M1911, which has made its appearance in quite a few of the Battlefield games and is a staple of the series, and then we also have the P08. As for gadgets, the class focuses on both supporting teammates and protecting the flanks. The first gadget is the ammo pack. This works similarly to the ammo pack in Battlefield 4, where once thrown out, one of your teammates will be able to run over it to receive ammo. It's an extremely useful gadget and a good way to rack up points without having to do a ton of work. You can throw out a couple at a time before needing to wait, so try to use them liberally. The support class also has trip mines available, which are surprisingly effective in this game. There are three types of trip mines: high explosive, incendiary, and gas. They're activated by placing the mine on the ground, and the direction you're facing when you place the mine is the direction that the tripwire will extend in order to trigger it. Now that you have an understanding of the basis for the kit, let's talk about tips and tactics while playing this class. The support class is called support because that is really what you should be focusing on. Their weapons, while able to secure kills, tend to be ineffective in most situations against weapons from other classes. In short range, they'll almost always be outgunned by the assault class. At medium range, they'll be up against the medic's semi-automatic rifles, which will have the upper hand. However, with the bipod deployed, the light machine guns are comparable in accuracy, but you'll also be stationary and an easy target for the enemy. At long range, the scouts will take you out with few problems unless you have a really good spot in which you can both deploy your bipod and be very difficult to see. Because of this, pick your engagements wisely and try to pay attention to what type of class you're engaging at what distance. Throw your ammo packs out as often as you can. In a game that's about killing, your teammates are going to be running through ammo, especially given that magazines are small by first-person shooter standards, weapons are inaccurate, and the reserves are conservative. Your teammates will be needing ammo often, so if you see a couple of them holding a point, even if they aren't shooting anyone yet, it's never a bad idea to throw down some ammo and you'll likely find yourself accruing points without having to do much else. If you're trying to hold down a point with your teammates, it'll partially be your responsibility to secure your and your teammates' flanks with your trip mines. If your team is holding down a building or a choke point, use this gadget to either kill the first enemy that tries to flank your team, or at least try to give you a forewarning before the enemies are coming your way. It's best to place it as out of sight as possible to get the most effectiveness out of it, and remember not to stand too close to where you've placed it, lest you take the damage or even end up killing yourself. Practice deploying your bipod and taking it back up quickly so that you can be versatile when it's needed. Your weapon can be fussy, so knowing how to quickly find yourself a good place to steady your weapon, pick off your shot, and then be back up and mobile quickly will be of great importance to you. If you don't get used to this mechanic and happen to be caught off guard when your bipod is deployed, well, you may as well say goodbye to the rest of that life. Now, I know I mentioned this before, but again, try to train yourself to get used to not tap firing your weapons. This is kind of counterintuitive since we, as players of the Battlefield franchise, have been trained to tap fire to maintain accuracy even with some of the more accurate weapons in previous Battlefield games. Know that this tactic will not benefit you with this class. Full auto is your friend, so try to get used to it. But that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if this guide was helpful to jump into Battlefield 1 as the support class. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Toast, and I'll talk to you soon.